Hello, I'm Markpaulpable and welcome to Kerbal Space Program Interplanetary Missions, where we plan on going to Duna. And we're going to test the spacecraft that we're going to send. First on launch pad is the Duna rover. It doesn't go off to a great start, as you can see. Misstage in the rocket has destroyed our first rover. So after a quick rebuild and restaging, we launch the rover. And we're going to test the structural integrity of the rover when we are deploying the parachutes. You see I locked the back wheels there and found the rover can tip over. So that should be enough to get us to the hills. Hills, you say? I plan on using the rover on the flattest terrains or rugged terrain. It looks quite flat on Duna, but we don't want it on a too steep inclines. So it survived the first opening of the chutes and the fully opening of the chutes. And only minor damage to the wheels at the front. But never mind, Jeb, our Kerbals have Time Lord pockets. Because they are Time Lords at the end of the day, they can warp time. So they got small pockets which are larger on the inside. And now we chuck Jeb on the rear seats, just in case we need to get him to jump off and use his Time Lord pockets to repair the wheels. So here we skip a bit forward in the video, and I'm going to see what it's like going over the inclines, when it changes the inclines going over the hills. It jumps about a bit if you're going about 15 meters per second, so I'll limit that to 10 meters per second when we're going over the inclines. And also, we're going to test it going down the inclines, because it'll go faster. You see 15 is a bit slow, a bit fast, sorry. Or was it 10? I can't read it on this small screen. I'm using Sony Vegas and have a small display to view the video. Anyway, I'll limit it to 5 meters per second, and if I use a zigzag motion, it works. So we'll use that on Duna, although there are differences. The gravity on Duna is much less and the atmosphere is thinner. Not sure how that will affect it, but we may need to limit the speed further. So I may use Mech Jeb just to limit the speed. That's okay. Anyway, I say this has been a success. So we'll get Jeb off the rear seats and into the front. The front capsule can hold 3 Kerbals and you can seat 2 on the back. So you're going to have 5 on this rover altogether. But I'm going to limit the mission to 4 Kerbals with a base and the rover. Right now we are testing our Duna base, and this comprises of, if we take a little closer look, comprises of a couple of modules on top of Lander Can Mark II, and we've used 4 junior science pods around the sides. We'll use them for storage because they are no good for this game because, well, we're not in career mode. We've also got 8 parachutes to land us down safely, well, at least on Planet Kirby. We may have to change that when we get to Duna. And we also have 4 nuclear engines which will help with the transfer stage. And other things included in the base are lights, ladders and struts to keep us off the ground so we don't have any Duna wildlife getting into the base. One of the problems though I found when I used Mech Jeb to launch us up into orbit was that when it decouples boosters, it sends the rest of the rocket into our base. Luckily, Jeb has survived. So what I'll bring it down and redesign the booster stage. So this time we have some Septrons to get some distance between it and the main rocket. So you see it has survived. So now here we are getting into orbit. And I have no idea, but sometimes Mech Jeb gets very fussy about its orbit. So here it is doing final adjustments, disengage it, just in case it gets too fussy. So deploy the solar panels now, so we don't lose charge. And here you can see I jumped straight into the Delta V chart, because we have 3,135 meters per second left. And only 1,726 meters per second will be used to help with the transfer stage. So I'll have to find out how much the transfer stage has or design it with enough so it have enough for the return trip to Kerbal as well. And now we are deorbiting our base because, well, this is a landing test after all. We're not going to have the base doing the transfer. So we're now in a deorbit trajectory. And here I have slowed the video down so you can watch me decouple the orbit stage. Let's boost away from that. Next will be the large docking port. Come on, I can't think of the things. It still looks like it's attached, doesn't it? So we'll boost away from that. I love watching things float away in space. That's why I disable the user interface here and watch everything fly off into the sun. Makes for good cinematics. I think one day I'll do cinematics like that. Anyway, let's get back to business. Check the lights. Working fine. Let's decouple these. Nuclear engines, come on, decouple already. I've slowed this down because you look at the struts moving. A couple of them hit each other in mid-space, stopping each other's dead in the tracks. I thought it was cool. I thought it was worth slowing the video down a bit more for. If you didn't, don't... well, too tough. Anyway, here we go, closing the solar panels because we're going to enter the atmosphere. And let's skip straight to the re-entry. We are deploying the chutes because I noticed we come to a landmass. I didn't plan this perfectly because I thought, oh, it's going to be another sea land in it. I didn't check the map, but we were coming over the landmass, so I just deployed the chutes to get us down on a landing. And cool. So I'll warp time here to get into night time. You see the base jutted about a bit because of the warping of time. I may have to put landing struts on this because I didn't think of doing that. So get jib out an EVA and I switch the lights off, and you can't switch the lights back on until you get them back in. So anyway, open the solar panels so when the sun comes up it charges the batteries. Get jib back out. I always wondered, could they interact with the science pods? Nope. So instead we'll just put up a flag. And we put down that, was it Duna base test successful? A test that went well. So next on the test list, I believe it's the escape. Duna escape craft. So here we are, we're going to launch the Duna escape craft into space, into orbit. And we plan on trying to dock the transfer stage to it. Now the reason for the Duna escape craft is, well, as it says, it's for our Kerbals to escape from the surface of Duna and then dock with the transfer ship around Duna orbit before coming back to Kerbal. So let's skip to the orbit bit. Okay, so here we are ready to get into orbit, but I decided to use MechJeb to give us a 100 kilometer circular orbit because we want to dock our transfer stage with this. So to make it easier, use MechJeb. For all the faults I see of MechJeb, I think it's the most useful I've used. It gives you all the data, out of all the mods, and gives you useful tools, especially when you want precision. But as you see here, it's on an off day because it gives me 143 by 97. That's not 100 kilometer circularization. So I do another node and we get 100 by 99. Which is cool. It'll at least make it easier to get our transfer stage up here and dock with this, our Duna escape craft. So you can see here I am testing it, testing the lights, testing the landing gear. All has survived the launch. The rigors of the launch through the atmosphere. Right now we get Jeb out on an EVA and he goes shooting away from the escape craft. He must not have fully decompressed the capsule before he disembarked. So he went flying off. Luckily he had an EVA pack, otherwise he would be lost forever. Because I'm not going to get another rocket up there to save him. Anyway, I was thinking of doing an episode on training the crew that we're going to send to Duna, because, as you can see, Jeb has lost his EVA skills. Maybe what I'll do is do an episode on a mock training of the Duna mission, where we get everything to orbit, get everything docked, we get the base land, we get the escape craft to launch and redock with the transfer stage, and, well, recreate the mission, like NASA does when they send the astronauts into the tanks for training. And have a quick look around the cockpit. So we'll leave Jeb by here in orbit while we get the transfer stage up into orbit so we can dock to the escape craft. So here we are, we're going to launch the transfer stage up into orbit so we can dock with the Duna escape craft. So let's align the crafts. I'm going to set this up into a lower orbit. And we have, on this mission, we have Bill, Bob, and Thombrey Kermer. As you can probably see from the transfer stage, we have the Mark II command pod, which can hold 3 Kerbals, and the hitchhiker pod underneath it, which can hold 4. So in total, we're going to send 7 Kerbals to Duna, because we can only take 7 back. Now, I'm still undecided whether to land Kerbals on Ike or whether just to do a landing stage on Duna with the rover and the Duna base, and then have some Kerbals orbiting. But anyway, we'll take it one step at a time. Like, next step is the orbit step. So here we are in orbit now, and I did it all without MechJeb. As you can see, I put ourselves in a lower orbit, so we catch up to the Duna escape craft, if I could remember what it was called. And the reason for that is when you're in lower orbit, you need to travel at a faster speed. So you're traveling faster relative to the other spacecraft that you're trying to rendezvous with. So you see here, we've got the closest approach. I'm trying to fine tune it. And in trying to fine tune our closest approach, I get myself into an orbit of 140 to 74. And between switching between the two craft, once we get the closest approach, I get that ready for docking, but I have to use the Duna escape craft because I had forgotten to put RCS thrusters on the transfer craft, which was a bad idea. So here I am trying to work out how to use the docking alignment mod. I forgot what it's called now. Who's by? Anyway, using this dock alignment tool is brilliant. As long as you align all 3 reticles on it, or is it 2? You get a perfect docking. I think the 3rd one on the top you don't really need to have aligned perfectly, but it means you get both crafts right side up. And here we are, we have docked. A success. Right, looking at the Delta V stats, when we have these 2 docked, we have 4,843 meters per second. And I'm sure that's using the fuel in the Duna escape craft. And we can't have that, because we need that to get off the surface of Duna. But looking at the rest of this craft, the design of it, I plan on having the rover attached behind the Duna escape craft, and the Duna base on the front of where it will where it will assist in the transfer stage of going to Duna. Right now, getting Jeb out on EVA here, so we can get him into the hitchhiker pod on the transfer stage, because I am quite confident the transfer stage will survive landing on Kerbal, but I'm not so certain about the survival of the Duna escape craft as he comes down on Kerbal. And that is what we're going to test next. As soon as Jeb gets in the pod, as you can see, he's still rusty with his EVA skills. I will do a training episode. And here we are, deorbiting the entire thing. Activate all engines. For some reason, I forgot I was only going to land one section at a time. I was going to land the Duna escape craft, test to see if that survives, then deorbit the transfer stage. So here we are. Decouple the two spacecraft and thrust away. Realising my mistake, I get the Duna transfer stage back into orbit, and then we see how if our Duna escape craft survives. I don't know if you noticed, but the speed doesn't seem to be dropping, nor does my altitude at this point, and that worries me. I think it's a bug with the game. It seems to be surviving okay until this point. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. The chutes will fully open, and boom, the craft breaks. And we get our fireworks. So I'm not sure whether it's due to the bug, whether the game thinks it's going too fast or not, but I may have to redesign this craft or not. We'll see in the next episode. Thank you for watching. I'm Markpaulpable, and if you like this video, please like. If you want to subscribe, please subscribe. Let me know what you think of the video in the comments below. And as I said, thanks for watching. Now go have fun doing science.